Well, hello there, sports fans. We find ourselves back down here to the volunteer fire department. We've got a few shelves we got to get put up in here to try to get some stuff organized. While we're working on that, y'all watch this week's episode. Gonna do a Mother's Day fish fry, and I'm gonna do some aluminum welding on a boat. Y'all seen that last week where I did some aluminum welding on a trailer. My welds didn't look real sporty, and I was having a little trouble with these right here looking just right, but found out what the problem was. Something had been told before, but you know how it is until you actually see it and feel it and do it. You really don't know that that's the problem till it's there, but we get that problem figured out and change the way them welds look pretty good bit. So while we getting these shelves put up, y'all sit back and enjoy this week's episode. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. See you in a little bit. I'm gonna have to get my church off the radio today. Heading out here to the shop out here at Mama. I'm cooking fish and all for Mother's Day today, so. You cannot conform the Word of God to you. You have to conform to the Word of God. That's it. Plain and simple. You can't sit there and say, oh yeah, but you know, He's a forgiving God and I can do this. There's a difference between doing something and you don't know that that's wrong, and then to do something that you know wrong and say, oh, well, that's okay, because I know other folks that do that. You ain't other folks. You can't get other folks. You can give other folks the word, but you can't get them into heaven. Jesus is the only one who can do that. So you got to take care of yourself, conform to the Word of God, and change your life in that way. We're going to see what that fish tastes like. I'll see y'all a little bit and I get out there and get set up. Well, all right, sports fans, we're getting started here up under the carport today. Look like a little drizzle. We're getting the old Bayou Classic heated up. We'll get it ready here in a minute. We'll have some fry up some pickles and jalapenos and get the grease seasoned. I always like to cook a little bit of them first. It kind of seasons that oil just a little bit, kind of. But I tell you what, I give y'all my secret batter recipe. I get 2 Zatarans, regular fish fry, and I get 1 Cajun fish fry and mix it all together. That seems to do pretty good to me, so I like that. So y'all can try that next time. All right, there we go, sports fans. Got that darn old fish just a-cooking, still swimming. There's some, there it is already cooked up. A little lighter than it looks right there. Some left of some jalapenos and some pickles. Now, we always cook my fish here. Everybody says, oh, when it floats, you're ready. When it floats, you better give them just a little bit longer. That'll turn them things a little flakier on the inside, won't be so gummy. We're running around 340 to 350, somewhere along in that area. See the difference in them? They floating a little bit, dark change color a little bit. Give them just a little bit longer, they'll be flaky. Well, all right there, sports fans, that's it. It ain't a whole lot, but there's some hush puppies and fish and french fries, a few pickles. Now, my fried pickles, I use bread and butter chips. To me, it's a little better than just a fried dill pickle. All right, sports fans, another Monday morning down here on the big highway. Folks going crazy trying to get to work. Done had a wreck. Learned today. I'd like to have 3 more wrecks because folks won't slow down and stop. Y'all slow down when you see a wreck. See something on the side of the road. I had the shop this morning waiting on a gentleman named Phillips. Y'all go check him out on YouTube and stuff. He goes around, he buys all this stuff, and like what we're gonna work on today, bought a pontoon boat off online at Facebook Marketplace. That's what it was. So I hauled off, went out in Florida, bought that, went and bought a bunch of stuff to go fishing with. Went out there and was able to catch them enough stuff to eat, and you know, they brought it back and cooked it and all of that. And pretty interesting deal, a lot of fun. He's a real fun guy, so I'll let y'all meet him and let him tell you a little bit about himself here in a little bit. So we waiting on him to show up, and we're gonna do a little aluminum welding on a pontoon this morning. You know, I always tell you about how this all this aluminum stuff got to stay clean. So we prepping this morning for Zach to get here. I'm gonna take these rods. We're gonna go ahead and wipe them down. You see that right there? That's off of one wiping of that. That's how much junk and all's on them rods. You got to get all that there cleaned off. So we'll get all them there cleaned up and get ready for him to come in. We'll have everything ready for when he gets here. Matter of fact, I think he just pulled up.
This is the operation. We putting lipstick on a pig with this boat. We just gotta get it to float and not kill us next time we take it out. So I got this on Marketplace for $3,000, which was about $1,500 too much, turns out. And my wife was not super happy with me, but I promised her it was a good investment. But it's been sitting in my yard for a year, so well, we got to fix that.
We'll see if we can make that promise come true. We'll get a little closer to it anyway.
Try not to lose too much money, and then convince her that I didn't lose any money. That's the goal. Maybe I'll trade it for a truck or something. Who knows?
Yep. And that GB well down in that hole, she ain't want to clean out good at all. Still pulling it up from that inside. So it's not gonna be laid in there real tight and flat, but I'm gonna let that cool just a minute. I'm gonna run a little on this. Be able to get to that bottom one or not.
For me, no. As long as it works, I don't give a rip.
We'll say a little prayer. Let the Lord help us see if we can't get this one right in. But it's daubed up anyway.
I have no idea where that salt water could have come from.
Yeah,
How in the world, how rough would you have to be on this thing to put that many holes in?
you're gonna have to get in some rocks.
Also, for him to say, talking to me, hey, there's no holes, no cracks, no leaks, he was lying.
Oh, that's just plain out lying right there. Now that fella right there just, I got nothing for a fella with a bald-faced lie, you know.
Now, there is something to be said for being dumb and trusting it, not looking it over. We went running around the lake, and it seemed like it was fine. We were in a hurry. We wanted to go fishing. We were excited, so we did. And now it's ours. So it's partially, largely my fault. Lesson learned.
Yeah. It is partially your fault for that. But, you know, there ain't no way a fella ought to lie to a fella like that. He know darn well all them holes in there. Well, no, I didn't say that now, because they are under the runner. It could have been that way when he bought it. Never leaked, he never knew it. But somebody had it on a jetty or something a time or two.
This thing, I think, is a 1978 Playboy. So it's probably seen some stuff, if I had to guess.
I was a Playboy back in 1978. I was a good-looking rascal, too. That fella that lie, I figure I can lie a little bit, too. That didn't turn out too bad. We had one minor problem that we had done missed the whole time. Wrong grade tungsten I was using. I got to thinking, I said, that tungsten ain't running right. Changed tungsten. Got her back in shape now.
Red, I think it's a dang shame that when I was in school they tried to teach me algebra and Spanish, but they didn't teach me how to weld or how to do my taxes.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's things are getting more and more where people need to be doing learning a trade other than going to college. If you actually look at the statistics on it, very few people are doing a job that they went to college to learn how to do. But especially if you're in a rural area, it don't hurt to learn how to weld a little bit, because you always got stuff you can patch up. And nowadays lawnmowers is done, lawnmowers what I think about patching, but welding machines, you can go to like Harbor Freight and get you something that's good enough to do a little patching on stuff. So that's one thing about it, what you know can't nobody take away from you.
Red, people watch you for wisdom on how to do stuff. If you had to give somebody advice on buying a boat on Marketplace, what would you tell them?
I'd make sure I float tested that thing and turned it, got as far around it as I could to make sure the hull and all that's okay, because that's mostly your hidden stuff. Make sure your transom's tight, none of that's rotted out. Look for any bubbles or anything like that where it looks like it done had a leak in it or something in the past. You got any kind of underlying problems on it.
Would you have bought this boat on Marketplace?
I don't know. It really wasn't that bad of a deal, but I definitely done some haggling on the price. I looked up under there a little bit more.
I think my biggest lesson is just don't buy a boat in Florida.
That'd probably be a good idea. All right, here we go. This is a box that I've had for I don't know how many years. Had it on the road with me. Kept all my stuff in there. Extra head, handle. I always keep a burr bit, extra burr bit in case you're doing repairs. And all sorts of stuff from mini gas lenses and buttons and everything else, even to a little old bitty head. That way, if you just stuff you need. All right, flip this over. There's my big side. Got stuff in there, tungsten, long tails, different cups. I've gone through this in the years. All right, here's that's one that I keep with me when my big for 1/8 and stuff like that. When I weld in pipe, that's what I kept with me on that. Okay, you see how that piece of tungsten right there's got that nice clean ball on it? If I'd run the gas on it a little bit longer, that thing would have been real shiny and blue. This, I don't know where it come from. I just grabbed it and assumed, but you see how raggedy that end looks? All that there was burning off, it was melting. It would melt all of it okay. But this arc was very unstable. See that split in it, how it was splitting and cracking. See how clean that is? All right, I'm gonna swap everything out right quick to this is what I ended up welding with. I'm gonna show you what I started welding with. See that arc flying around there, see it running off that end in a different direction, how it's moving around. That's where that arc isn't quite as stable. All right, at lower temperatures, That's what I had when I started out. I run that one right there on low all the way. When I floored it and had her running on wide on open on this thicker stuff, it was running a little bit better. But you can see how that arc, there it is, you can see how that arc was dancing around on that. But that was the difference right there. I had the wrong tungsten for that job. That's one of those things that you know, because you've been told that, but until you experience it, you don't really know that, hey, that's what that is and that's what happened. So after I fought that thing on that thin stuff for a while yesterday, I flipped over. Now it did, you get a solid weld out of it if you're paying attention, because everything's molten, everything goes in, it's just trashy and nasty. It don't want to lay down like it ought to. So when I flip back over to that oven, the old bead laid down there pretty good. So I don't want y'all to think that I can't run a bead, so I'm fixing to show you one. Look how dirty that there looks. Something is not right about that tungsten. That may have been why that thing was listed as do not open, and they got rid of it. I don't know, because I'm gonna go ahead and pause this for a minute, and I'm gonna put that other one that I had back in there, I'm gonna run one right beside it and let's look at it. Alright, look at the difference in them two welds right there. All I did was change tungsten. So there's something wrong with that tungsten that I was using. That's what was giving me so much trouble on there. This one, that one there, I had my hand in front, you couldn't see it. This one I was trying to feed it in from the side. My hand was getting hung on my vice grips here while I was trying to stay out of the way. I hope you could see that right there while I just let her run and daubed her and eat down through there. Yeah, ow! All right, makes you feel better when you figure out something that's been giving you trouble that's not giving you trouble anymore. I get a little ego, whatever. I didn't want y'all to think I couldn't lay down a decent looking bead. But anyway, first time, it's hard to do when you try to get that thing where you can see it, where y'all can see it, and me stay out of the way and weld in my where I normally weld. That second time when I went back in there, my hand was hanging on the vice grips, and my other one, I was daubing it in from the side. When I go in, I like to go in straight into the front of my puddle, not trying to stick it in from the side of it. If you go in that way, you can keep it a lot more consistent about where in the puddle you stick it, whether your actual puddle is here, whether you're sticking the rod into the back side or the front side of it. It'll make a lot of difference on the profile of your weld. If you stick it in the back, you're gonna put a lot more metal in there too, because you're gonna you're gonna be burning it off while you're sticking it in there. But anyway, there you go. The wrong tungsten. You can look it up. You can say it says your gray's good for low amperage aluminum. But anyway, I'm fitting to order me some white. I don't know what all I got, but I'm not fixing to get caught again in the middle of doing something and be trying to go through all that darn tungsten to try to figure out what's what well, what won't well. I already know what well. I'm gonna just go ahead and buy me some, put all that other back, cause I seriously doubt I'm gonna go on another big pipe job where I'll be needing a lot of tungsten, but can't never tell. But anyway, we're gonna get things lined up and organized a little bit better and see if we can get that back down to where we just got what we need. So. Well, all right there, sports fans. We got these shelves up in here. Got some of the stuff brought in here. There's a hose tester and a skid and rope, rescue rope and stuff like that. We're gonna see if we can get this thing here filled up and try to get our room in here, get our truck bays and all cleaned out some. About gonna wrap up this week's episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Remember them little tips I give you on that welding right there. You see what difference that made when I got the right tungsten in there. So anyway, we're gonna ease on down the road, start doing something else. Y'all be careful, stay safe, go to church on Sunday. See you next time.